the Budweiser Shootout. Darrell Waltrip is on his way to the broadcast booth to help call tonight's race. So let's bring in the newest member of our NASCAR on Fox team, his brother, two-time Daytona 500 champion, Michael Waltrip. Tonight he'll drive the 55 car, but most weeks he'll be in here. Michael, are y'all set out there?
Man, this is Daytona, JR. I am set. I love it. I also love the style of racing that I think we might see tonight. Talking to several of the drivers in the drivers meeting, they're talking pack racing. Maybe you can push for a few laps, but you're not going to be able to push all night long. And Johnny, all the success I had here at Daytona, it was a huge pack. I won in 01 and 03, and you had to be 3 and 4 wide even sometimes to have success. So it's lining up nicely for me. I can't wait to get in that little hot rod of mine and go see what I got for him tonight.
Well, we're glad to see Michael's excited about something for once. You know, Danica, he's
yeah,
excited.
that never happens.
Yeah, but doesn't that, no matter where you're racing, what you're racing, don't you get those butterflies in your stomach? Don't you get fired up before a race, no matter what it is?
Yeah, I get nervous before every race. People still ask me, you know, of course, do you get nervous before a race? Of course I do. Big time, every time. And, you know, I'm the most nervous as I'm kind of at driver intros, walking to the car, standing and waiting around for all those minutes for the anthem and everything. And then once the anthem's done and you got to get in, that's it. I'm fine then. Once I have something to do. So, you know, buckling and making sure you're feeling comfortable. And just before they tell you to go, I'm just thinking about, does my balaclava feel comfortable? Does my helmet feel comfortable? Do my belts feel comfortable? And then you go.
So what's your plan for tonight? Where are you going to watch? What are you going to look for?
Well, I'm going to go up to the spotter stand, and I just kind of want to see how, you know, the flow of the race is going to go, because there's going to be more pack racing for sure, and I think they're definitely going to start that way, just getting settled in. But I'm just going to be looking for the runs and where the good lanes are and what seems to move well. And Ryan Newman, my teammate, was saying that, you know, sometimes the cars feel different on the outside versus on the inside of them, and the way that it pulls the car back and the side draft. So I'm just going to be looking at all that stuff.
So there is so much to learn here tonight for all the drivers, whether you're on the outside looking in and watching the others drive, or you're actually in the race car, because there was a lot of changes that went on from the practice session earlier in January to this actual racing tonight. So right now, we're about ready to get this thing started here under the lights at the Daytona International Speedway. Let us go trackside and get the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to deliver the most famous words in motorsports, representing today's United States Armed Forces, please welcome Petty Officer First Class William Kimbrell, Petty Officer First Class Andres Reyes, Petty Officer Second Class Aaron Schwartz.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Danica mentioned that she's going to go up on the spotter stand. This season, Jeff Hammond will find himself anywhere and everywhere around the racetrack, and right now that is exactly where he is, up on the spotter stand. Jeff, what's your view of this race?
So far right now, JR, it is an unbelievable view from up here on top of the spotter stand. You know, you can see here behind me all the spotters that are lined up and getting ready to go. But the thing is, last season, NASCAR allowed the drivers to talk to one another, make their own deals. But this year, they put a stop to it. It's now back on the spotters and the crew chiefs to make the deals. If you want a dance partner, this is where it's going to come from. As a matter of fact, the deals are going to be made so fast, well, they're going to rival the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And tell Danica, I'm waiting on her.
All right, Jeff, she's going to be up there in just a second, but Danica, probably in this race more than any other, that spotter is so important.
Yeah, it is big time. You really have to have a lot of trust in them, and you've heard that always before, and it's not like I've not had a spotter before, but when they're clearing you and you literally are just trusting that the car is out of the way and you can slot up because you can't always see them, you just, you know, it took me a while to really get that comfort level. And so you know, once you find a good one, hang on to them and work well, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So lots of trust up there.
Yes, so crucial here at the big racetrack. The season is about to begin with NASCAR on Fox. The green flag racing is coming right up, and when we come back, we're going to go high atop of the Daytona International Speedway to get you fired up for the Budweiser Shootout. If you've never seen the Budweiser Shootout before, you're in for a special treat. And as the cars approach the green flag, let's turn it over to the men who will be calling tonight's action: Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy. Guys, this is a fun and exciting event.
That it is, JR. Thank you, and hi, everybody. This race is fast, and it's unpredictable. Yes, Dale Earnhardt won it 6 times, but in its 33-year history, it's had 19 different winners. One big question, though, Darrell, that practice did not answer for us. Will we see pack racing? Will we see the 2-driver tandem? A combination of the two, or something completely different tonight?
Well, Mike, I think maybe the bigger question is, can you keep your cool? Because that's one of the things these guys are really going to have to deal with, watching that water pressure, watching the water temperature, because the way NASCAR has changed the rules around and moved that grill opening where the cars can't get a lot of air to them to try to break up that 2-car tandem, that is the $200,000 question tonight. Can I keep my cool?
So, can the drivers and the cars keep their temperature under control? And Larry, this race runs in a 25-lap segment, a 10-minute break, and a 50-lap segment. With NASCAR's new electronic engine management system and fuel injection, if that second 50 laps goes green flag all the way, can they make it?
And that's one of the big unknowns. You may think with a 10-minute break and 25 laps in that first segment, I'm just going to lay back and kind of watch things happen. I don't think so. You have got to go and go hard. You've got to learn all you can, because I think it's going to be very borderline for these drivers in those 50 laps. Can they go the distance on fuel? I think that's a question no one has the answer to.
This race has had a variety of formats and a variety of ways to set the field. Last night at the annual Budweiser Shootout Draw Party hosted by Steve Burns, they determined the starting lineup. Martin Truex Jr. drew the right Bud bottle and won the pole. So Truex in his second shootout will start from the pole alongside Kyle Busch, who had 4 wins last season. Row number 2. Brad Keselowski in his first shootout, and Jamie McMurray, a past 500 winner. David Reagan, who won here last July with Kurt Busch, the defending shootout champion. Greg Biffle, who got his first win in the Cup Series at Daytona, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., a 2-time shootout winner. A.J. Allmendinger, a shootout rookie. Joey Logano is there. Carl Edwards in row number 6, the runner-up for the championship, and Jeff Burton in his 8th shootout. Ryan Newman, past 500 winner, and Jeff Gordon, 2 shootout wins. Tony Stewart's won this race 3 times, more than anyone else in the field. There with Denny Hamlin, the only rookie to win the shootout. Clint Boyer, first Cup start without Richard Childress Racing. He now drives for Michael Waltrip. And Jimmy Johnson, 5-time. Casey Kane in his first ride for Hendrick Motorsports, and Michael Waltrip, 2-time Daytona 500 champion. Marcus Ambrose is the other Bud Shootout rookie, with Kevin Harvick, who won this race back-to-back. Matt Kenseth, Daytona 500 champion, and Paul Menard, the defending Brickyard winner, and Juan Pablo Montoya making his 3rd straight shootout start. 33 drivers eligible for this race, 25 starters.
We say we see, oh brother, where art thou? Mikey, it's DW, got a copy?
Go ahead, big bro.
Hey man, 2 times on February the 18th, I've stood up here and called you home the winner. What kind of shot have we got tonight? We got a chance for 3 in a row?
I think so, Darrell. You're going to see old school racing, I believe, tonight. I think these guys are going to run in a pack, and when they're packed up, I've had a lot of success. So talk to Dale Jr., talk to Casey Kane. Nobody knows what to expect. They don't know if they're going to be able to push or not. So you got a great seat up there, and I like what day it is for me.
Roger that. No pressure, but I would like to see you up front. So put your big foot to the floor and let her rip.
All righty, brother. Y'all have fun up there, and I'll hang around up there with you this year if you don't mind.
Roger.
Ready to race in Daytona. Let's get last-minute updates from our NASCAR on Fox All-Star pit crew, beginning with Dick Berggren.
Well, Tony Stewart is a fact than anybody else in tonight's event. But last night, a big crash on the track, major damage to the car. The crews say they have the car straightened out, fixed. It's okay. Stewart, confident, relaxed, he's ready to go. Chris Devoda.
Last year, Kurt Busch won this race, made the chase, and then found himself standing in the unemployment line. Now trying to rejuvenate his career with a relatively underfunded team, Kurt is also trying to make racing fun again. Nothing fun about getting wrecked in that first practice like Dick Berggren mentioned with Tony Stewart, but his boss, James Finch, told Kurt this about tonight: do whatever you have to do to win this race. Now that should be fun for us to watch. Matt?
Christopher Dale Earnhardt Jr. Tonight's rules package could provide the closest thing to old school racing, where Jr. scored some of his biggest Daytona wins. He and Steve Letarte, his crew chief, told me, you can't orchestrate a game plan tonight or even a partner. Instead, expect about 65 or so laps of big pack racing, and then who knows what's going to happen. Expect no loyalty with anyone here tonight. Steve Burns?
Thank you, Matt. Kevin Harvick is a two-time winner of the Budweiser Shootout. He went back-to-back in 09 and 2010. Now, he's known as Happy Harvick, but he wants to be referred to as Hungry Harvick. Looking for that first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. He's finished third 2 years in a row. He has a new crew chief. He and his wife, Delana, have sold off their racing teams, and they're expecting their first child. He is focused on winning the championship, and although it's not a points race tonight, his focus is on that title. Jeff Hammond.
Well, over here up on top of the spotter stand, the deals have already been made. Believe it or not, the 88, well, he wants to lead, but he wants to get to his best buddy, Martin Truex Jr., who's on the pole. Look for him to make a move early on, and then try to use Martin Truex to not only get up toward the front, but take the lead, flex his muscle. He wants to show this field the way around Daytona, the way he's done in the past, Mike.
Thank you, Jeff. The field takes one to go, and let's take you back to yesterday afternoon's practice session. The concern about bump drafting. Darrell, explain why Tony Stewart turned Kurt Busch around.
Well, all these drivers know that you can push all you want to when you're out to the right of the car, when you're pushing from the right-hand side. But the way these cars are yawed to the left, when you get on that left-hand corner, it just pushes that car right around, spins it out like we saw right there. So these guys have really got to watch that and not get over on that left side, because it's instant wreck.
Certainly no intent there. No, Kurt was trying to go high to avoid a slowing Martin Truex. Tony got the back of him, around he went, and kind of like on the highway, the car in the back is kind of deemed to be at fault, but racing accident.
Yeah, I mean, if they could have talked to each other, which that's something that they can't do this year, if the spotter maybe had to give them a little bit better heads up, that maybe could have been avoided, but it's practice. Everybody's all revved up. That happens.
67 degrees. Not too cool an evening here in Daytona Beach. This race is 75 laps. They'll run 25 laps and then have a halftime break, if you will, a 10-minute pit stop. The cars will stop on pit road, and anything you can do on a normal pit stop, the teams will be able to do. Then a 50-lap segment. And 4 cars involved in that crash you just saw will start the race from the rear.
And you saw that pit road speed of 55 miles per hour. You're out there racing over 200 miles an hour, make a green flag stop. That can be tricky. And that fuel window, about 44 to 48 laps.
Will we see pack racing? Yes. Will we see bump drafting and tandem racing? Yes. We may see a lot of things we haven't seen.
Well, we may, but I do think the guys will use these early stages of this race to figure that all out. They'll be working themselves, setting up for the end of this thing, because that's when you're going to see some two-car tandems, I think.
Changes in the rear spoiler height, the bumper height, the new engine management system, a lot of changes, but one thing hasn't changed. The grip on the steering wheel, the foot on the throttle, and the desire to get the 2012 NASCAR season underway as they come off turn 4 and face the start-finish line.